$2,000.50.
Tom, I have a question.
Yes.
I did an analysis, and Jeff and Larry, you remember these sheets that Paula and the sheriff gave us during the budget meetings. These here. I took a look at their numbers, and I believe them to be accurate. When we look at the overall impact, and what I did is I took the revenue we had for the budget year. You know, we had budgeted for the jail to have $1,465,000 in outside prisoner revenue. We had a budget of prison and transport of $131,000. Our actual or estimated income, and this was through this when this report was done, and we projected out the last couple of months, 3 months of the year. Housing income of $1,146,000 that we were working from our budget, and transportation income of $160,000. So the outside prisoner revenue is off $319,000, but the transport revenue's up by $29,000, gives us a revenue shortfall of $290,000. Now, you got to look at the expense too, because we've had less prisoners to care for. We had budgeted on the expense side $877,000 for expense, and we had $703,000 in expense, or $174,000 less, due to the fact that we had less prisoners to care for. Then I looked at the jail utilities. We had budgeted $74 and estimated at $58,000 versus $74, or $15,000 less. So the total picture, as I see it, is that with the decrease in the revenue of not having Cook County versus the decrease in expenses, it was about a $100,000 impact on the budget, negatively.
Now does that take into account the Cook County people that started funneling in again, Ted? Did you add that into it?
What I did is I took what Paul gave us during the budget process.
Right.
Now, if that's ticked up, then that's good, because then that $100,000 number may come down.
But estimate for the end of the year.
This was an estimate provided by the sheriff's office, both on income and expense. But we do have 10 months in the book, though, I think we saw. Phyllis, what is our, well, I don't see that. But the bottom line is that, you know, in fairness to everybody, the whole drop in Cook County,
It's affected everything.
it's about $100,000, less than budget. So had we had, Ron, as you did your analysis, had we had that $100,000, what would that do?
Be sweet. Be a lot better than it is.
We went up 113 instead of 13.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to run down anybody or be critical. Again, we're just having an open conversation tonight. Tom's on the public, or the law enforcement numbers. I did this analysis based on what I was given.
And that's why I asked the sheriff not to order a third squad car, since the revenue was down.
Right. But I think we have to ask that question, though. And Ron, you hit on it. Either we're going to increase earnings, or we're going to cut expenses. And I know we had a conversation with the sheriff back in March at a budget meeting, and we said, can you cut expenses at the jail to equal what we're going to lose in revenue? And we did not cut expenses, to my knowledge.
We did by 200,000.
Well, that's because we didn't have the prisoners.
What was the projection on the income from housing prisoners?
I think it's 1.4.
Right, it's right here, Dan.
1.4.
It's right here.
That was what we projected.
So
Last
10.4 million?
I think 1.4.
We budgeted this year $1,465,000, Dan. And we're estimating $1,146,000 as of November 30th. also, we had estimated 131 on transportation income, or budgeted 131, and we're gonna get 160. So our transportation income was up by that, yeah.
But this doesn't take into account the new, some of the new Cook Counties or inmate population
Well,
increase.
again, this was this was
Right.
an accurate snapshot
Yeah,
in time,
for
probably,
that time.
probably the middle of September, or 1st of September. when-
Using the August numbers.
Now, Ted, when there is a drop in prisoner population, and you're reflecting that in the amount of expenses that are decreased, what does that reduction of expenditure equal into? I mean, water, power, health insurance, but
Food.
don't we?
Food.
Is it food primarily, or is it? I mean,
It's
because it
it's
seems
the
like
prisoner per day cost.
Yeah.
There's an average that we calculate prisoner per day, and that covers, you know, the electricity they use, it covers their clothing, you know, laundry
Food.
being washed,
Yeah.
food.
Pharmacy,
Now, the medical's separate.
oh, it is.
So
That's a separate line.
That's
So-
insurance that we
Yeah,
pay.
but
I just want-
That's a separate line.
Medical separate, I didn't
Yeah,
have
we're just
medical in
talking
there.
about, you know, a per day, per prisoner for basic and comfort items, you know.
Are those realistic numbers when we look at, you know, power, food, cost? Do we actually see that reduction in that? or-
Well, we did have a reduction in jail utilities. We had budgeted 74, and it looks like we're gonna spend 58. That's an estimate, so that's at 15,000 less. So, in fairness to the analysis, I wanted to bring in both the revenue and expense. But, you know, if Cook County does great the last couple months, that 100,000 drops, and I hope that happens.
When it comes to meals or food or anything like that, the more people that you have there, the cheaper the cost, so the less prisoners that you have in, the higher the cost of the food.
All I'm, what
Well,
I'm, yeah,
not-
and I'm saying it, what I'm saying is,
Not really, because they're, at the
That's
beginning
what
of the,
they budget that on,
but
George.
they have a contract that says for this year, this is what your meals are gonna cost.
Whether you have 20 or whether you have 100.
Yeah,
It's on a sliding scale.
yeah, there
And
you
the
go.
more you have, the less it costs.
what I'm,
At contract time,
all I'm,
Our contract is for the whole year.
that's correct.
all my analysis is saying, my analysis is saying is that had we hit the budget, the budgeted revenue, we would have had $100,000 more in net income. Okay? That's what I'm saying.
But right now, we're not dealing off of the estimates anymore. Now we're giving some hard fact numbers, correct?
Well, we almost have a year into it now, but for like, let me give you, and Dan, you'll appreciate these numbers because they're, here's what we had for actual, and this is in the books, for actual 2013, our income from housing and transport was $1,392,000. In 14, it was estimated to be $1,306,000. In 15, we've budgeted $1,300,000.
So we've got them by 90,000.
Yeah. So I think that we learned that the $1,596,000 was probably too aggressive. I mean, we would love to hit that. I mean, that would be a great number. We've already talked about that would be $100,000 more in income to the county. So again, I don't want to make this a discussion about the jail, but you know, we're talking about.
$1,465,000 was basically based on 61 federal prisoners at $65 a day.
No,
No.
no.
It was
It
split.
was based on
between federal-
71 prisoners between Cook County
It was,
and U.S.
it was
Marshals.
based on 40 prisoners from Cook County and 31 from Marshall Service. That's how they came up with the number.
40 from
All
Cook County.
71,
This is the
Yeah.
first year
but they paid different.
that we would have
That's
had
why
a
you
full
calculate it
contract with the 65 with Cook County. So the other two previous years are just what a budget is, projections.
We got that, Paul.
Well,
We do understand that.
But Paul, in 13, we had $1,392,000 in revenue, and this is the number you provided, the sheriff's office. So our revenue is going down from 13 to 14 to actually what we budgeted for 15.
Well, the numbers that I had was 2013 is $1,262,777.
Yes, that is housing, Dan.
Yes.
Then you add the transport and others, 129,000.
Mm-hmm.
That gets you to the $1,392,000.
Okay.
Okay? For 14, we have estimated housing of $1,146,000 and transport estimated of $160,000, which brings us to that $1,306,000. We had budgeted for both those categories $1,465,000 and $131,000, or a budget for 14 of $1,596,000. Okay? And for 15, we're budgeting $1,300,000, $1,155,000 for housing and $146,000 for transport. And we're budgeting that based on historically what we did in 14. We didn't want to bring another budget forward of pie in the sky.
Right.
Okay? So anyway, Tom, I didn't mean to bastardize your report, but anything else, Tom?
Not that I can tell you.
All right. We do need we got a resolution regarding Illinois State Police Merit Board Safety Fund. Phyllis, do you want to talk to us about that?
Yeah, Jeff Benson brought this forward. It's a fee that has been approved by a public act that allows a $15 fee upon a plea of guilty to specific crimes and vehicle code violations, which is to support the Illinois State Police. Public Act 97-105 allows that all counties will be subject to this section except counties with a population of 2 million, which is definitely us. And they can elect not to be subject to this section. Jeff Benson has requested that you move to not collect this fee. He said it's already at the point where most people that are sentenced by the court can't pay what they're being charged anyway, and to add another one on top of it, he doesn't feel.
So we
it's
need a
necessary.
motion to take this to full board for,
Yes.
I'll
second.
Well, go ahead. We'll get a discussion. Jeff, you made the motion,
Yeah,
I'll second
second
it.
it.
Do we have discussion?
I'd like to know how that affects us with the Illinois State Police. I mean, obviously it's an Illinois State Police program that we don't want to support, or it looks like that right now, or we haven't supported it in the past.
That's a good point.
And the other thing, I get upset every time they raise the fee for my license plates. Because I was always of the impression that we should charge more for fees when we ticket people or we sentence people. That why do the good people have to pay more for driving good than the bad people who are committing the crimes?
The
You see
non-licensed
what I'm saying?
drivers.
Yeah, a non-licensed driver, you know, he's not gonna pay this $15, but instead they're gonna turn around and add it on to the price of my license. I'm following the rules, I'm trying to do it right, I think my people are trying
So
to.
why do millionaires have to pay for everybody else in taxes?
Yep, same thing, but.
I can guarantee you that this will not go towards your license.
No, that's just what I'm not saying that will, I know that, I know that that's not gonna happen, but,
Marginal tax rates have gone down for millionaires, so I don't wanna hear it.
I guess the other thing that I see is that you're asking this county, or the department heads and everyone to control their spending. Maybe the state police in Springfield should control their spending also.
And I'm not
instead of
saying that's-
requiring everyone.
yeah, I'm not saying that's such a bad idea either, but But look at the shape the state's in, like, we're gonna have any effect in asking them people to do the right thing.
As it reads, the only one that absolutely has to abide by this is the Cook County,
Right.
as it reads, because it's anybody over 2 million.
So do we have any information on how many counties under the 2 million?
2 million.
2 million subscribe to this?
Just Cook County is forced to.
No, but do we have any information about how
I
many of the
don't.
Cook counties
I don't.
how many of the counties under 2 million
It was-
actually subscribe to
It
this?
was just enacted.
It was brought
it's
forward
new.
to us by Jeff Benson,
Yeah,
County.
just recently, so
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
and he's talked to several other people, and several small counties aren't gonna support this through his connections.
And I mean, if you want more information, then I guess we should table it at board for him, or, but you have a motion on the table to move it to full board. Motion in a second.
If we pass it, we should all get out of jail cards from the Illinois State
Yeah,
Police.
we all know that one.
If we get stopped, let these guys go.
We're good guys.
So we don't have to pay that ticket.
We'll be the ones they slap on,
You present those cards, you know better, I'm gonna double your fine.
bite the hand that feeds you.
Well, Jeff, you wanna table it, or you wanna?
No, we were just moving this to the full board.
Yeah, all right, it's been motioned and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Show the record had one opposition. All right. Mr. McWhorter is going to talk to us about
Early retirement
retirement.
and the cost to the county. In the back of your pamphlet, there will be a sheet that looks similar to this one, except it's white instead of yellow. This is my own computer. And on the sheet, I have taken all the people that are eligible for early retirement and listed out what a comparable person coming in at the low end, a new hiree would be. And so that's where it goes through. Like I said, we have 3 deputies, and between their regular salary and their overtime is $39,000. Telecommunicators is $33,000. Courthouse employee, that's a zoning officer, together would be $30,000, which we won't go down that road because we don't know. We still have to have a zoning officer, so we have to add that back in. Probation office manager, $38,490 is what a new one would cost. So on down the line, and the total of new replacement salaries would be $355,734. The present employee salaries that these people that would replace is presently $550,497. So that would be savings a year if all these people took early retirement of $194,763 for the county. Now, to get this savings, we would have to pay them an incentive to how do you say that, Phil? You pay into IMRF. We would have to make a payment into IMRF to offset our contributions.
Yes, over the next.
Over the next
5 years.
Okay, and we were all given a pamphlet with all this information, and I just took it, if we did it in 5 years, the savings, or the cost of the county would be $225,540 per year. If we stretched it out over 7 years, it'd be $173,259, and 10 years, $135,305. So if we offer this to the employees, I would say we would offer it, and the county would take at least the minimum of 7 years to do the payback, and maybe as much as 10. So that way we'd have more money in our budget to operate with. We'd gain savings in the salary and the offset of the cost of the IMRF that we would have to fund.
Jeff, and I know you've worked very hard on this, and we've talked about it at budget meetings. Is there any other costs that we have not factored in that we would have? Is there health insurance? Is there?
Well, we're just assuming all the new people would come in and the same, their health insurance cost is the same whether they're a present employee or a new employee.
Well, does everyone in this list have health insurance, for instance? Do all the people that are retired, do they all have health insurance?
I would imagine they all do, yes. Yes, they would.
Okay, so you're saying that all of these people have health insurance, so if we replace them with people who have health insurance, that should be a wash.
Right. although maybe some of the replacements would come in that weren't family, maybe they'd be single, so the health insurance would possibly be cheaper if they're single instead of a family. But we can't count on that. And maybe nobody on this list would want to retire, maybe 2 would want to retire, so, you know, the
Right.
numbers aren't gonna be as drastic as what shows up here. But my projection shows the net savings to the county, like 7 years before we see a savings to the.
Jeff, I'm for this, and I would support it with one carve-out. I'd like either Bonsack to give us a 2-hour analysis of what you've done, independent, or IMRF to tell us.
IMRF has already done this.
Okay. Well,
All I did here was take our present,
I
what
understand.
the replacement salaries would be.
I understand. My question is, do you want to have that liability at presenting the analysis, or would you like some
I have no problem presenting my
some
figures.
protection with a third party to bless what you've done here?
I would accept Ron as being.
I would too.
Sorry.
I would too. I would have no problem based on Ron's analysis tonight to take a look at what you've done and come back at our next finance committee meeting and validate what you've done. I have full confidence in that.
And we were all presented the same figures I worked off of.
Oh, I know.
Other than
Jeff,
salaries.
I'm not questioning what you've done. I'm just saying that
So you could have done this all yourself too, Ted.
I'm not smart enough.
That's pretty poor when some poor old dirt farmer's smarter than CFO. but-
I'm not smart enough. That's why I rely on consultants.
Yep.
Yes, Donnie?
In the 7 years, we're only saving $20,000 a year then?
Yes. There'd be a net savings 20,000. That is if everybody took it, which I don't anticipate everybody taking.
Probably they ain't all gonna take
Yeah.
it. We're not gonna
It's
take
just
it.
more of a,
Well, Ron, would you be comfortable taking a
Yeah.
look and
Oh, sure.
coming back?
Coming
and-
in at
Phyllis,
You know, I guess one of the questions I've got is, are all of these positions absolutely necessary as you move forward?
That's
Can
a
some of
great-
these be part-time, can they be,
Yeah.
I don't know what the current relationship with the unions that cover these positions are, and if we can do something by,
Well, everything you said would improve the analysis that Jeff's done. If we could go from full-time to part-time, if we could go to eliminate the position altogether, which we can as a county board. You know, we can say we just don't need that position. We control the purse strings each year with the budget.
and Phyllis brought forward a good comment too. The savings are in general fund and the expenses come out of IMRF levy.
Which
So our
is
IMRF
good,
Right.
That's good.
which is good. That is a very good thing.
So that's another big benefit out of it.
It's an excellent point Phyllis made. We talked about that. I would just, as finance chair, before taking this to the board, I would like our sitting treasurer to look at your analysis
That'd be fine.
and come back and we talk about it next month and approve it. Is that okay, Joe?
I have no problem with that. I'm not looking to retire early, so. Somebody might be carrying me out and
Well-
6 people will have to volunteer to
Jeff,
carry me out
I'm
when I
not,
retire.
we don't want you to retire, you know, we just want to give you the protection so that, in a few years when this goes crazy, you can win re-election.
I would have to run.
That's a great point.
What percentage?
After 4 years, I'll be tired too.
What's the opportunity?
25% of them.
Okay, Jeff, we have the conflict.
You're not gonna save very much on 7 years?
No, really, that's,
It's not a big taking.
the only deal is, like Phil says, it puts more money into the, general fund and lets us transfer it over to the IMRF.
It's a smart way to
Yeah.
pay for something that
So-
relieves the general fund of some of its burdens, which we've learned tonight would be helpful
Yeah.
in how we manage going forward. But Ron, you'll be willing to do that for us? Great. We have the conflict public defender that we have to approve. Nate Neiman, I believe, right, Jeff?
Yes, it is.
We're gonna recommend
And
that to the board.
he is presently the public defender. The only thing we're doing is he's changed his place of work, so we're just making the agreement the same as his
Okay.
place of work. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll take that to the full board then. I make a motion to,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Can I ask a dumb question?
There's never a
The
dumb
current
question.
public defender is,
Nate Neiman.
Same guy.
I thought it was Dalton.
This is conflict attorney. This is if,
And the assistant for the deputy public defender is Aaron Geyer,
Not anymore.
not anymore,
No, because Nate Neiman is taking
his place.
that.
he's
This is
taking
if
up.
somebody, if our current public defender says, you know, I'm related to
I
this
understand,
person.
and I know all three of them,
Yeah.
so, okay.
All right, claims, we have claims before you, $683,000, no, wait a second. Yeah,
Oh, my
Yeah.
glasses.
$683,936. I make a motion to approve the claims.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any other business, non-action items?
I
Public comment?
got a couple questions, Ted.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm going back and looking at some of my old records. And as of April of 2014, there was $609,710 that came in from the House and Federal prisoners. Now adding up off of this sheet here, the income that came in off of House and Federal prisoners, and I didn't even take into consideration, I took in $5,000 on Cook County prisoners. But that comes to $1,005,035 so far right now. We still have 3 months. Figure averaging 85,000, we should come out 1 million. We should be $1,200,000 at least off of housing federal prisons.
Just the housing.
Yes.
well, I think, Dan, you're also bringing forward cash from the prior year of prisoners that were counted already in our 2014 audit. There's a difference between cash and accrual.
I understand that.
So I'm working from the numbers that were given to me by the sheriff's department, and that was given to the budget committee. I mean, we can sparse numbers all night long. I was just working from, I mean, we're gonna know soon enough, with the year coming to a close.
One other thing. Okay, as a county board, maybe we need to get, involved with the media a little bit more and get information out to the public. Being where I work at, which is Dynegy, or Muscatine Power and Water Bit, we entered into a power contract here not too long ago, which I thought was a good move, which I'm pretty sure it is, because right now, Dynegy, it's a power utility, wants to leave the MISO market and move into the PJM market. Now, the MISO market has been averaging $16.75 per megawatt hour day. PJM market's averaging $125.99. This will be anywhere between a 9 to 10% increase of the average residential homeowner. So I think we did pretty good on doing what we did. I just wanted to share it.
That's a good point. That's an excellent point. Thanks for sharing that, yeah. Your utility expertise helped. That's
Sometimes.
That's great. No, hey, we're all in it together here, so. Any public is there any other comments from the floor? All right, public comment at this time? All right, hearing none, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned until 7 o'clock.